This afternoon, pressure mounts on Lands and Natural Resources Minister Samuel Abu Jinapor as the minority caucus on the Lands and Housing Committees demand his immediate resignation over the Galamsey menace.
Also to come, Makola Zongo Lane fire outbreak, which started some 48 hours ago, is yet to be completely brought under control as traders lament slow response by firefighters.
Also, there's a family of 18-year-old final year students of the O'Reilly Senior High School who was stabbed to death allegedly demand justice as they stormed the school premises at Okwegono. Hello there, it's yet another Tuesday afternoon. Good afternoon to you. Welcome to News Central. I am Mawuena.
And I am Keminni Amanor. News Central starts now. 48 hours. That's how long properties have been burning in the capital Accra over the inability of the fire service to douse on inferno. Sunday's fire, which started out as the regular fire disasters in the country, has badly exposed Ghana's lack of preparedness to deal with fires, with personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service struggling yet failing to bring an end to the flames. From black thick smoke hovering above the Makola market area to loud blasting sirens of fire tenders, the inefficiency and lack of retooling, one of Ghana's disaster management organization, rings hollow from the streets of the bustling market. Let's get you the very latest from Zongo Lane in Makola Markets. George Queenan is our reporter on the ground. George, good afternoon to you. Listen, tell us what's happening. What do you see? What's going on?
Thank you, Keminni. Thanks for having me. And we're still at the, incident scene. And it's been more than 48 hours, and the fire service is still, struggling to really down this very fire. But what personnel are waiting is the fact that they want their seniors to reassess the situation and come up with a line of action. And so that is what currently is ongoing. And so traders are also, scattered around, waiting to see if they can salvage some of their wares that have been, been in the building coming in.
I see. George, when you look at, where this fire began up until today, what are the traders saying about how it's never going out?
So they're really concerned about it. Obviously, this is how they fend for themselves, and this is where they get their meals from. And so it's going to take, a long time for this very fire to be done. It's going to be a worry for them. But for them, if they feel if there are some materials that they can salvage, why wouldn't the personnel allow them to take them? But it's quite some sort of safety concerns now. And as it stands now, there are visible cracks on the building. It's a two-story building warehouse. There are cracks on them, and then there's service even fears that the building might cave in or collapse. And so it's actually a security concern. And so all the traders here are not given the access to, go to the building. So you can see police personnel dotted around this place here, trying to prevent them if they want to make that very. And so that's what it is here. Security concern very high. And so everybody that wants to access this building is actually being prevented for now. But traders are just hoping that they would be the last day that they can read out and verify, because if it protracts, it's really going to be a big issue.
I see, but comparatively, how bad is the fire today? Well, I'm asking how bad the fire is today.
Keminni, as it stands now, you can only just see smoke below it. But you can actually also see that there's some sort of fire in there. But now, personnel here are just waiting for their seniors to come and assess, because the very operation that they used yesterday would have to be different from today. So if the seniors come in and reassess the situation, that's when they will just adopt the next line of action, whether they're going to fight it from the back or they're going to face it head. That's what they are waiting for from their seniors to reassess the situation. I want to just take you around here. Yeah. So Keminni, I just want to take you around this place. So this is how the situation is right now. You can see the smoke billowing from the building, and I don't know if you can see the visible cracks here. So that is what it is now. Some of the personnel here are waiting their seniors to come to the scene, but that is it. It's a two-story building, and the smoke is still billowing. And traders are actually hoping that it will be doused today. And there are also fire attendants here. I'm told that the enforcement got here. And so that's it. Some traders here, you can see them. And so these are the owners of the building. The Chinese woman here and the man, these are the owners of the building. Okay, so this is what the scene looks like, the situation report here. And that's the building, the visible cracks here as well. So that's it. Can I talk to you? Oh, so Keminni, let's talk to the owner of the building. So the Accra Metropolitan. So can I talk to you, please?
Very well. Judge,
since that this very land was illegally acquired, and then after this situation has been controlled, you will be prosecuted. I know there's a yeah, that's the concern we got. So what do you say to things like? So what do you say to concerns like?
No English.
No English.
Yes. So.
But also, how do you take this very incident? As the owner of this very building, how do you take this incident?
No,
you don't understand. Keminni, like she said, she doesn't understand English. But the concern from the AMA is that there was some sort of illegalities surrounding this acquisition of this land. And so after everything has been, settled, they'll try and then prosecute these owners. And so that is what the AMA is also saying regarding this very incident. Like I rightly mentioned, traders are waiting for this to be doused, and maybe life will actually bounce back to normal.
George, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much. Now, the Makola Zongo Lane inferno is not the only one we've seen in this country or in the capital city. About 50 fire outbreaks have been recorded in less than a week in the country. And Accra and Kaswa have recorded the most fires, destroying properties running into millions of Ghana cedis. Residential apartments, markets and shops have all been affected. It was a Herculean task for personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service to contain most of the inferno within a minimum time frame because equipment deployed to the fire scenes were obsolete, virtually rendering the service and the servicemen ineffective. The last time the Ghana National Fire Service was retooled by the state was during former President John Dramani Mahama's tenure in 2014, where 80 additional fire tenders were procured. Let's have a quick conversation on the back of all of these, all of the information we've heard so far. With me in the studio is Alex King Nate, who speaks for the Ghana National Fire Service, ADO1, correctly so. I saw you, you shook your head when I talked about the retooling and the fact that, 2014 was probably the last time that you were retooled. That is correct, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a while we've been retooled, but the government has made a commitment that they will be retooling us. We are actually expecting some fire tenders. I've been informed that plans are far advanced for retooling, so we are hoping that it will come soon, and we believe that it will be coming very soon.
We look forward to that. But what could be causing the many fires we're seeing, especially in Accra?
Well, I would attribute it to people's nonchalant attitude towards fires. At the Makola area, for instance, we have an active fire station with a vibrant fire safety team that go around to educate. But some of the things they tell us is very unfortunate. They go and some of these fire market women will tell them, don't disturb me. I've not sold anything. I'm not ready for anything. And it's as if they feel fires are far away from them. Also, the fact that people are failing to draw a fine balance between their safety and their security. Everyone seems to be more afraid of the thief than they are of the fire. So you realize that in our homes, in the shops, people have fortified their shops with a lot of padlocks, with a lot of burglar proofs, with a lot of CCTV cameras to catch thieves. But what are they using to catch the fire? If they invest in early fire detection systems like smoke detectors, when the fire starts at the incipient stages, it will be able to notify them that there's an impending danger, so that quickly measures you can call on us to arrive. But when you don't have early fire detection systems like that, the fire will get fully developed, spread before you even notice and call on us. And then by that time, it would have spread and become uncontrollable.
I see. I want to talk about the Makola Zongo Lane fire, which has been burning for the last 48 hours. Now we are counting into the next 24 hours. What could be going on there?
So there's a lot going on. Okay. As Eko rightfully said, there are visible cracks on the building. On Monday, parts of the building caved in. Even this morning, other parts of the building also caved in. So there's the safety concern for both firefighters and civilians alike that if we commit men, most of these shops are closed. So due to the spread, it's difficult to get through to the seat of fire. Ideally, we should be able to go in with our cutting tools, breaking tools, break in and fight the fire. But then due to the unpredictability of the strength of the building, if we commit more men to go in, we might be facing a major casualty rate. So we are using other measures to fight the fire. But unfortunately, due to the lack of safety precautions or lack of safety consideration taken into the building of this place, it becomes a one-way in, one-way out thing. So there are no alternative routes to help us fight the fire. Also, the fact that there's a lot of fuel. In the fuel is not only petrol or gas, but then anything that can burn. So for fire to happen, there are three things that come together in its rightful proportion to start a fire. We have fuel, we have oxygen, and we have heat. Oxygen is all around us. And so with the collapse of some of the building, it has made room for more oxygen into the fire. Also, the fact that there's a lot of...
I see. But is it not also the case that you do not have the ladder to be able to reach the fire?
It's not about the ladder, because you realize that even if you have the ladder, it's about how the people have overpacked the things inside there. Because you realize that we even try fighting a fire, but they've blocked the windows of these warehouses with foams, with mattresses, with all the items that they are selling. So even if we try fighting a fire, even if we should pitch a ladder, and we have to fight the fire, you would still not be able to get the water through to the seat of fire, because the path to be able to fight the fire has been curtailed as a result of the items that they've used to block these ways. So we've always mentioned that we need support, but then again we have capable officers. Our chief fire officer himself is on the ground. Our sectional heads are on the ground, and we have quality manpower. Trust me. But for the professionalism of the Ghana National Fire Service, we'll be looking at a much more bigger disaster than this. There are banks around.
So how long are we expecting this to continue?
So as at yesterday, 10 p.m., we've officially communicated that the fire is under control. There's a difference between under control and finally extinguished. So under control means that it's out of danger. We've contained the fire from further spread. There are pockets of fires in there due to the availability or the excess availability of fuel. So our safety concern now is how to be able to fight it without recording any casualty at the moment.
I see. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us. Alex Keminni speaks for the Ghana National Fire Service. We've been looking at the increasing number of cases of fires in Accra and Kaswa zoning, and particularly on the Makola Zongo Lane fire, which he tells us that really is expected to be extinguished soon as they have it under control now. But remember, has been raging for the last 48 hours. So we'll keep an eye on that story and fill you in when we have new developments.
Let's move away from fires now, because family of an 18-year-old boy have besieged the O'Reilly Senior High School this afternoon, demanding answers from school authorities over the stabbing of their relative. Edward Bokete Saki has been confirmed dead after he was stabbed allegedly by a colleague during an altercation. After he was stabbed. Noble Crosby Annan is my colleague. He is there for us right now. Let's find out right now details from Crosby what the situation is. Crosby, I see the school gate behind you. Is it the case that calm has returned now? What can you tell us?
Well, at the moment, all friends and family of the late Edward, who ganged up here or masked up here during the early hours of the day, demanding justice from the school, they have dispersed. And that is because the school refused them entry into the premises to engage with the leaders of the school. It was heavily protected. Police presence was very heavy here this morning when the family came here demanding access from the school authorities, asking to why, like you mentioned, why Edward was left unattended to while he lay in the pool of blood after he was stabbed, until over 20 minutes later when some students themselves were able to transport him to the nearest health facility where, unfortunately, he passed on arrival.
And they are demanding justice. What really do they want, considering that now they've dispersed from the school's premises?
So exactly what the family, what they're seeking for is answers. Now they want to know why the teachers refused to attend to him while he lay in the pool of blood. And even before he was stabbed, we understand that he ran to the teachers for shelter after this person who is alleged to have stabbed him was making the advances to beat or to stab him. He ran from where the altercation was happening to where the teachers could see him. And even though he got there, the teachers, if you like, turned a blind eye, and he was stabbed 3 times. You understand? One in his chest, the other around his throat, and the last in his forehead. That's how come he passed on. And when he was laying down, the school still did not respond. At the moment, the family are telling me that they're yet to get any response from the school or from the family of this alleged students who stabbed Edward. They're yet to get any communication or any engagement with the family of the deceased boy as we speak, Eric.
And let's try and get an understanding if authorities of the school have said anything to you when the parents besieged the area this morning.
So when the incident happened yesterday, we understand it happened somewhere around 10 a.m. yesterday. That's when this sad incident happened. After it happened around 10 a.m. yesterday, around the late hours of the day, we had representatives from the Education Ministry coming to the school to engage with the school, finding out what happened and how it went. That's all we know. But today, coming to the school, we're being denied access to the school's premises. We've not been able to engage with any school authority. The police are telling us that it will not be safe to do so at this time, particularly in the morning when a lot of anger was boiling up by the friends and family of the late Edward.
Crosby, I see there's some activity happening around you. Let's first off take a listen to some of the relatives of the deceased which you interacted with, and then we can come back to you to wrap up the conversation.
He had a paper in the morning. He was done with his paper. And he came to me and he was like, oh, sis, I'm done with the paper. And I said, okay, I'm left with a few minutes.
He's a final year student?
Yes, she's a final year student, a Form 3 student, junior arts theory. And he came to me, sister, I'm done with my paper. And I said, okay. He told me, done with the paper, and I said, okay. And I told him, okay, I'm also going to start my paper. Not a few minutes, we heard there is some noise at the back, and we asked, what's wrong? And then, if you don't want your brother, I'll show him. So he said that I was scared because this is not something new in O'Reilly.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that we have such cases that students fighting, students harming their own colleagues, students cutting their own colleagues. I have today a friend made a status and I saw it. You're like, Sugar, how can you stab your own colleague? It's very bad. This thing is nothing new in O'Reilly School.
Okay, so when you went to your uncle to tell him what the boy had told you?
My uncle was not around. The shop is this shop. I came to this very shop, and the incident happened when you enter the school. You see a small mango tree there. Okay. So from here to that mango tree is where the whole thing happened. Just few minutes. I can't even remember. I can't even remember because it's afterwards. There are teachers in the school. There are cars in the school. No one mind. It's just the same colleagues that they were calling me, come, your brother. Before I ran, we went to, this is the main gate of the school.
So that's one of the students of O'Reilly Senior High School speaking to my colleague Noble Crosby-Annan. Let's just take a listen again to father of the deceased, and then we can go back to Noble Crosby-Annan.
You are Edward's father.
Yeah.
What happened?
What happened was yesterday, I see my boy off to come to school. So I was not supposed to go to work. So I'm at work and my niece called me that Edward is having misunderstanding. One of the students is having misunderstanding with Edward. So I should come. And so I asked her that, are there not teachers at the school? And she said the teachers are not sitting there unconcerned. And what is happening is unfair, so I should come. So I said, okay, then I'm coming. So on my way, when I got to the motorway, she called that the boy that is fighting with Edward, I've stabbed Edward, lying down at the school premises, breathing. And the teachers are still sitting unconcerned. I said, wow. Then I said, I'm coming. So on my way, when I get to Kotobabi, she called again that there's the students have gathered themselves and picked him up. So they are going to Lekma. So I should rather come to Lekma and meet them there. So when I drove and I reached Lekma, I went to the emergency. The doctor said Edward had passed away. And that is it. So when they showed me the body, the boy stabbed him 3 times on his chest. So that led him to his death. That's all.
What have the school authorities been telling you?
The school authority have not said anything from yesterday up to now. The police have not caught. The school authority have not caught. Even the boy who killed my son, neither the family have even reached me. That's why we are here to seek for justice for my son.
What intentions do you have going forward?
So that's the father of Derek. Let's touch base finally with Crosby again. Crosby, some activity there. Is it the case that other individuals are being allowed into the school for possible investigations? We see a lot of police officers who came around earlier when we were speaking to you.
Well, that is what it seems like. We're trying to get access into the school's premises to know exactly what is going on. During the morning when the media got here, we're not allowed access into the premises to even engage with the school's authorities. We understand it may be possible, so this is what we're monitoring. If it is possible to go inside and engage with the students, perhaps, and the school authorities, we will definitely do that. The police will still, if you like, trying to find out whether the school authorities will allow us access now. Now we understand it could be possible, and if it is possible, Eric, we'll let you know as we try to enter and then have a word or two with some of the students and the school's authorities on what actually happened yesterday on the back of the claims that it's been made that the teachers washed on without doing anything for Edward to lose his life. Perhaps a little intervention from the school's authorities earlier would have made it possible to save the life of Edward. By the way, Eric, I should also tell you that we understand this is not the first time that these incidents are happening in the school. We understand the school is known for, if you like, these happenings. And a lot of residents around are asking that the Ghana Education Service intervenes and, if you like, puts the school at the right place.
Right then.
A lot of clashes, a lot of fights have been happening at this very school. And I understand this would be the second loss of life in the school. This information we're here to confirm. But the bottom line is O'Reilly, unfortunately, may be noted for these happenings.
Crosby, we'll leave it here, even as you try to battle to get access to the school and get authorities provide some more details with regards to the concerns and the accusations that have been leveled against them. Noble Crosby, Anand there.
And it looks like the police and, GS authorities are in the school to investigate the matter. We'll update you as and when new developments emerge. In the meantime, let's turn attention to illegal mining, because uncovered pits by illegal miners in Gbane in the Talensi district of the Upper East region has caused flooding through the Ung River, with an estimated 80,000 cubic meters of water flooding the underground of large-scale mining entities and small-scale miners. 400 professional mine workers have been sent home temporarily due to the damage the flood has caused on equipment underground. Gbane mining community is endowed with huge gold deposits, which is a potential of positively changing the economic situation in Ghana. But illegal mining activities have taken a bigger part of the gold fortune, although poverty and unemployment is reducing due to mining activities. Well, now we're going to go to the community now. We're in the Talensi district. Our Upper East Regional correspondent, Tanko Mohammed Rabiu, is joining us with a bit more on this. Good afternoon to you, Tanko. What else can you report on the situation in Gbane?
Thank you very much, Keminni. You're right. There are hundreds of uncovered mining pits in this area because what is happening here is a shallow mining activities with several pits dug and abandoned without sealing them off. The issue is that gold deposits are easily found without going deep into the ground. So the unregulated miners succeed by moving from one place to another in search for the gold.
What is the current state of the flood in the undergrounds, and are they still illegally mining, or, I mean, what's the situation on the river?
Okay, currently, as I visit the place, the water level underground is very high, especially at the underground mines of the various shafts of these companies, because this is the only large-scale mining company that is currently working in that area, that is L International Mining, as well as undergrounds of small-scale miners that have been submerged by this water. Yes, illegal mining is still ongoing, few meters from the old river, due to large gold deposits around the river. According to what the miners told me, is that they don't have any place to go apart from these areas, and that's where they get their daily bread. So they are therefore appealing to the authorities to at least see how they can do. But the Deputy Public Relations Officer of L Mining, that is Albert Azongu, who spoke to me earlier, said the flood has affected their equipment with millions of dollars still counting. So we can hear from what he said.
Let's take a listen and then we'll come back to our conversation.
Of course, the point they hold on to is that is their source of livelihood. But we also say we do not think that wanting to live should make you risk your life and also disturb our operations. So all we are saying is that you have to give way if we ask you to give way. And so if you are someone who is squatting in our concession and your operations does not disturb us, we may not immediately be asking you to move, especially if you are possibly finding yourself in a corner somewhere where you are managing to survive. But as long as you want to continue to come into our underground, as long as you find our space as the space that you can find your food, then we have a challenge with it. Safely evacuate all the workers. Fortunately for us, all the workers who were underground at the time of the incident were safely evacuated and they surfaced. And then it emerged that we immediately could not address the issue. In fact, it took us close to 3 days before we were able to find a temporary solution to the problem.
Tanko, we also know that you were talking to some of the underground miners. What did they tell you?
Yes, Keminni. What they told me is that they keep on saying that this is the only place they know, and that's why they are here. They have been here. Some have been here for like 15, 20 years now. And then that was some years back.
Let's take a listen to them and then we can end our conversation.
My boy. Senabaya, a bit me, I because Missy, me bahache. See, a Jumana Wayane, I show him back near Busia. Even Obu ha, Ninia Crampo have been one of Mobuam, and Manu fee back a Bayajuma. I'm one of the feed the Makola, a Fibrin school fees.
So we are here doing how we do, then we survive and watch our family. Here too, it's like some water is disturbing us as we are working. So the water, I think if like government can contact with the contractors people so that they can see how they will do, then block the water for us to be working. Yeah, that's our work that we are doing. We and our mothers and everybody here, that's our work we are doing.
Well, Tanko, thank you so much for bringing us the story. Upper East Region correspondent Tanko Rabiu Mohammed. Well, some members of the Minority Caucus on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee and the Works and Housing Committee of Parliament are demanding the immediate resignation of the Sector Minister Samuel Abujinapo and his two deputies over their failure to fight the menace. We'll get more on this story in a tad. But right now, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, more stories.
So live here on News Central, we're staying with the subject of illegal mining and its ravages because this afternoon some members of the Minority Caucus on the Lands and Natural Resources as well as the Work and Housing Committee of Parliament are demanding the immediate resignation of the Sector Minister Samuel Abujinapo and his two deputies over what they say is their failure to fight the illegal mining menace. Let's get onto the phone lines right now and speak to the Deputy Ranking Member on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee of Parliament, Alhassan Suyini, who's cast doubt on the ability of government to effectively tackle the illegal mining menace. He's joined us, like I mentioned, on phone. Honourable, many thanks for speaking to us. Government has insisted on its achievement in fighting the illegal mining menace, yet you do not agree. You say that the minister and his deputies should be resigning. Is that what will deal with the challenge we have on our hands as a country at this particular point in time?
Well, the line is not very clear, but if I understand you, I agree that indeed what we are calling for is for the president to dismiss the minister responsible for lands and natural resources and also the minister responsible for environment. It may seem very little, especially because we know that the failure is not just restricted to ministers of state. The failure is a failure of the entire Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. But since we all agree that the president who is lame duck has checked out, and the vice president who is only focused on winning an election because he thinks it's possible, not because he has any grand idea to resolve the problem, cannot be removed from office. We at least expect that they will demonstrate some little bit of responsibility by firing these two, ministers of state who are variously responsible for the sector. And it is especially important that after that, they also address the state on the state of our environment. I think that we have gotten to a point where as a country, as a people, we deserve to hear from His Excellency the President on the state of our environment because our survival depends on the environment. And it is clear to us that as a result of this abysmal failure in the fight against illegal galamsey, our very survival is threatened. That is the reason why today the Ghana Water Company Limited is telling us that about 60% of our water bodies are, polluted. And they are having to even, spend much more to process potable water that are sent to our homes. And even that they cannot guarantee the quality and efficacy.
Honourable, the House has reconvened today. We know that the House has reconvened today for that emergency sitting. Is this something that you're bringing to the attention of the Speaker and demanding a bit more from government on today?
Definitely, this call is an emergency one, and it is restricted to a number of issues that the House is called upon to discuss. But obviously, as people very concerned about the threat that this illegal mining is posing to our very life, and especially now that we see it being done with impunity by the roadside, like we have seen in the Konongo areas, like we have seen even close to railway lines and in the Talenti areas, all over the place with that level of impunity. As members of Parliament very concerned, we intend to address the press, very shortly. And in that address, we will be highlighting some of these problems and also demanding some, action and responsibility from the government, especially His Excellency the President. And
two things you stated. The President
says, if for nothing at all, the people of Ghana deserve a statement on the state of our environment.
What happens if none of these things you're demanding is done by the current administration? The sacking of the Lands and Natural Resources Minister and his deputies, and then an address of some sort by the president. It's not inclined to heed to your demands.
The truth is that, my brother, even as I make the call, I'm not hopeful that the president will even have the courage to make these dismissals, because I think that he is well aware that the failure goes beyond these ministers, and the failure is a failure of the entire government. And remember, he himself, lied to the people of Ghana when he said he was putting his presidency on the line to make sure that this fight succeeds. Clearly, after 8 failure, he has not come back to tell us anything about, his presidency. All that he seems to be preoccupied with is winning more power and also handing over power to, his prodigy to continue with the destruction and devastation of our forest.
Honorable, one last thing from me to you is a question that's just coming through, that as members of parliament, you can be doing a lot more, because in the various districts where these illegal mining activities are taking place are areas where you supervise as members of parliament as well. You should be taking some level of interest in ensuring that the districts under you as members of parliament where these illegal mining activities are taking place, at least you report and ensure that it stops there. How do you respond to that?
My response is that let us not, I don't think that it is ingenious. I don't think that it is, smart to want to put members of parliament on trial for the failure and irresponsibility of the state.
Not on trial, but aiding the fight. Aiding the fight against illegal mining.
Can I finish? I'm saying that the state has given the coercive powers to His Excellency the President. He's the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. And beneath him are ministers who are also clothed with authority to deal with this. They can actually command police and soldiers to deal with this. They can pass policies and laws to deal with it. All they need to do is to present it before Parliament and get Parliament's, approval for those ones to be implemented. Again, they have municipal chief executives and district chief executives, and they have regional ministers who also share the RECSEC and the NUSEC. They have all that it takes to make sure that we succeed in this fight against illegal mining. And so if they fail, it will be disingenuous to want to put members of Parliament on trial with the executives who have completely failed, even though they have been given all the powers that they require to make sure that we win this fight.
Honourable, I appreciate that you could speak to us. I see Honourable Al-Hassan Sweeney is the Deputy Ranking on the Lands Committee in Parliament speaking to us this afternoon. I reckon we'll stay in Parliament a while longer, Keminni.
Absolutely, because the House is reconvening today in a makeshift chamber at the dome of the Accra International Conference Centre. Now, weeks ago, the majority side requested that members are recalled from vacation to consider what is said were urgent bills. The majority leader then accused the Speaker of rushing the House into recess. Initially, Speaker Alban Bagbin had put off reassembling members due to a lack of appropriate space, while the original legislative chamber underwent retrofitting. This afternoon, Bagbin finds himself once again defending his decision to adjourn the House on July 30th. In his opening remarks, he informed MPs of the renovation works in the chamber. TV3's Evelyn Tingma is there for us and joins us with some updates on this. Good afternoon to you, Evelyn. Let's talk about how, things and work of the MPs are going on in this temporary chamber.
Yeah, Keminni, good afternoon. I must say that the work or the proceedings started here earnestly around 10:30, and of course, proceedings have been going on quite smoothly, and currently as we speak, the Speaker of Parliament has suspended the House for 10 minutes, and of course it's been more than 10 minutes, it's more than 30 minutes as we speak, and members are not back or the Speaker is not back for the House to continue with the business.
Was there a reason that the Speaker felt the need to, reassure the House that he didn't rush them into vacation?
Yes, so Keminni, in his opening remarks, he did explain that Parliament initially was supposed to have adjourned proceedings or sittings on the 30th of July. And so he did that according to the parliamentary schedule. And so nobody could have accused him of suddenly adjourning the House on the 30th of July. And so he explained to members that that was not the case. And so he went ahead to also indicate that members should desist from abusing the Article 112 of the Constitution, which compels the Speaker to recall the House anytime members want the Speaker to do so. And so he went ahead to say that even one day that could cause some challenges for the country, and so members should desist from that, and that he went according to the parliamentary procedure to adjourn the House on that day.
I see. So what bills are or will be considered today?
So, Keminni, so the Speaker said he recalled the House based on 3 motions. And the first one he mentioned was a $250 million financing agreement between the government of Ghana and the International Development Association with the World Bank. The second one has to do with the tax waivers or exemptions. And you remember this tax waivers came up on the floor of Parliament during the last meeting, and it was shut down by the minority side of the House. And also, they asked to reconsider a decision that was taken by the House that was taken before the House went on recess on the Ghana Sector Recovery Levy. So it's based on these 3 motions that the Speaker said he recalls the House to come and consider. So they are expected to consider these 3 things before they rise again tomorrow after proceedings. But Keminni, as we speak, as I said, they are on recess. But in the Speaker's opening remarks, after his remarks, he gave the opportunity to the minority and the majority leaders to also make their remarks. And of course, the minority leader, Dr. Trisela Tuporsen, he says regarding the tax waivers or the tax exemptions that the House has been recalled to come and consider, the minority position is that they will not agree to that tax exemption because, according to him, if they do agree and approve that tax exemption, they will be giving away some $350 million to some crony businesses, and that will not happen. And he also was concerned about the Electoral Commission voter register, which he says it is riddled with irregularities, and that he's calling for a forensic audit into the voter registration and database. And of course, the majority leader will not agree to some of these things. And he asked that his colleagues to be circumspect with the comments they make concerning the Electoral Commission because some of these things would not augur well for the citizenry not to trust or to trust the Electoral Commission. And so basically, these are some of the things that the House looked at before they went on the break.
Indeed, Evelyn, always a pleasure talking to you. Evelyn Tingma is joined us from the makeshift chamber of Parliament at the dome of the Accra International Conference Center. We'll bring you more on this in subsequent broadcasts. Right now, we'll remind you you're watching News Central live on TV3. When we come back, we'll bring you your election command center.
And we are your election command center. We're taking you to the northern part of the country where the flag bearer of the NDC has lashed out at the ruling government over what he describes as discriminatory cancellation of road contracts the NDC signed and had commenced in 2016. According to him, upon resumption of office, the current government halted the construction of roads awarded under the Cocoa Roads project, claiming it was auditing the contracts. After almost 8 years, no adverse findings has been made against any past government official under the contracts awarded. This afternoon, John Mahama is promising the people of Amoma in the Kintampo South constituency that his next administration will not cancel any road construction currently being undertaken by the NPP administration. Komla Kluche has more.
Mekaise Amoma Kwai 2020 yadi fidie beguso. Abra yewa ba mu yede Makoko roads anka ekwanya efri Amoma ekopie agina ni na contractor eguso yeye no Koko roads abai fofo ba ya almost say Amoma ha yenua Koko ntade ne yede Koko roads aba na yenua Koko ase yeso yedua cashew na cashew yemfa nko amano ne nkoton enfa dollars ma enti na ye Ghana for ni bi enti ne yede Koko roads ba ya yede bi ba Amoma se ne be ya ye kwan na trucks na ebetwe cashew no kono ombenya kwan aba beto cashew no ne yede kwa amano ne ediskaba Ghana enti ye ba saa kwan ni nyina ye beto asubio 2020 yede fidie begu saa kwan so yeto abawie ya eno eno sa kwan afia ye beto ababiom ehu se contractor gu so na minimse aka mfie miensa na bibia abawie na minimse efie eboso miensa akai enkoba se ombeba begu so fefefe na bibia yeye eye ndisi na beba beto aso ewie sa mokwanyi amamo.
The flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has announced the procurement of additional 50,000 closed-circuit television CCTV cameras for the police at an event to commission the Central East Regional Police Command in Kaswa as part of his Central Regional Campaign tour. He said the CCTV cameras have become necessary to detect in real-time crimes committed on streets in every district in the country.
As a government, we have invested more in the police than any other government in the Fourth Republic. We've bought more vehicles, more uniforms, even 3 helicopters for the police for the first time in history. Going down next year is to begin to support the police with CCTV cameras and across every street in every region and every district, so that we can see when we sit down every movement in every street, in every region, in every district capital in this country. And so we are bringing in 50,000 CCTV cameras that we are going to install in every region and every district.
The tiredness already telling in the voices of the 2 leading candidates, John Mahama and Dr. Bawumia. But away from them, daughter of Ghana's first president and former chair of the Convention People's Party, Samia Nkrumah, is denying claims that she's been sponsored by the governing NPP ahead of this year's general election. The allegation was made in a constituency, the Jomoro constituency, during the opposition NDC's campaign there. Samia Nkrumah, who is going back for a seat as an independent candidate, says she does not belong to the NPP.
But what is best for us? What is the best combination of people that we can present to help our country?
What is the best combination of people that we can present to help our country? That's what you're saying. You've recently been accused of being in bed with the NPP.
Oh, yes, it's not the first time. I've been accused of many things, and this is propaganda, and this is... Yes, I was surprised to see that on the launch of the MP for Jomoro's campaign, I was a subject of, of interest, and that people were talking about me rather than touting the achievements of the MP. I say I'm surprised because I think when you are launching a campaign, you talk about your powers or your strengths rather, and what you can do for your people. And so that gives you even an indication of how, for me, that is extreme partisanship. So if someone is not in your party, you can say anything about them. You can, you know, put a lot of negative propaganda, just dump it on them. So I truly believe we have to move away from that.
But is it true? This year, are you sympathizing with the governing NPP, helping them indirectly to break the 8?
But the NPP has a candidate, so it can't be true.
And yes, we are your election command center. Trust us to provide you all the details as it happens from now until December 7 and even after December 7 because we'll be expecting results declaration and then the aftermath as well. Let's quickly scan before we get out of the studios today and do that for us and join the 3 News WhatsApp channel. That's where you find every detail as it drops. It's a 3 News WhatsApp channel. It's a big growing family. Do well to be a part of it. That's our bulletin for you this afternoon, which came really fast today. I am Mawuena.
Next is the afternoon show. I'm Keminni Amanor. Bye-bye.